Welcome to Hug Nation Live. I am John Halcyon Stinn, back again to share some gratitude and connection. I'm kind of fired up about gratitude right now for a bunch of reasons that I will share momentarily. This is a daily broadcast, a little opportunity to integrate the joyous practice of gratitude into your life. It's also a chance to remember and be reminded that you're not alone, that there are like-minded, open-hearted people all around the world. If you passively allow media to inform you of what the world is like and what people are thinking and saying, you will suffer. You will be presented not a general look at the world. You will be presented with the information and tone and alarmist factioning ideas that get into our reptilian brain stuff and motivate us to get angry and lash out and act, and which is so good for engagement and attention, which is the currency of the modern world. So if you just allow powers that be to tell you how the world is, I guarantee the world is falling apart and filled with people that are very upset with you, very judgmental of you, and often saying things that are so opposed to what you believe that you cannot help but want to reply and tell them how wrong they are, how damaging that perspective is. And boom, there we are. We're caught in we are ants and wasps in a jar that's been shaken up, and now we're fighting with each other. So, isn't to say that there isn't things out there that require our attention and our awareness of people and perspectives that are in understandings of the world and reality that can be extremely harmful and damaging. But if we don't make a conscious effort to also look for the people that are like us, that are dedicated to compassion and peace and harmony and lifting others up, then we'll miss it. And it's so easy to become disheartened. So this is just one practice, one way to make sure we don't forget. If you're here, say hello. We are live on Facebook and Twitch and YouTube. If you leave a comment, I can pull it up on screen and share with everybody. Good morning, Juan. Good morning. I just listened to some footage from the Pink Ride at Burning Man this year that I was not at, that was led by Kiri and Sean and Mingle. And I believe I heard you sharing gratitude. The camera didn't move, but I thought I heard you there. If not, I imagined you, and it's almost as good. Good morning, High Noon. Good morning, Mingle. I just started listening to your talk. I listened to Kiri's gratitude this morning, and I just started, but I haven't really dug into it. Although I did get to see the clip. I hope it's okay if I share this. The Instagrammable clip of your sermon this weekend where you talked about Hug Nation and the chosen belief that the world would rather hug you than hurt you. And if you are a world traveler, if you are someone who has backpacked around and gone into the little nooks and crannies of countries beyond the tourist spots, I can bet that you have an understanding and a awareness that people are good. That no matter who you are, in most places in the world, way more than the US, if you are a stranger, it's like Burning Man, where people say, come on in, let's have tea. Even in a country that our leaders try to portray as a opposing team, an enemy, but the people there, they would rather hug you than hurt you. Or if physical contact is a little odd, they would rather serve you tea than give you an obscene gesture. I knew this gratitude for those words, John. I had similar thoughts as meditated this morning. Wonderful. Yay, it was you, Juan. Awesome. Dawn says, hugs from sunny Utah. Good morning or good day to you, Han. Dawn, hugs, and Utah. It all goes to Hanta. I'm glad you're here. Natasha says, good morning from the state people confuse with Mexico all the time. I am so grateful for the people I've chosen to surround myself with. They bring me so much joy that I can choose to lean into it when there's so much negativity that I can try to grab my attention. So much negativity that can try to grab my attention. I'm wearing my Love Ambassador shirt today. I've had the pleasure of explaining the Hug Nation logo to a few strangers now. Yay. I remember I think it was The Simpsons, when at one point someone makes a reference to New Mexico, and now maybe it's not Homer, but he goes, wait, there's a New Mexico? Kiri says, good morning. I'm grateful I woke up feeling alive and refreshed. I got an amazing, challenging workout in nice and early, and I'm at work in a great mood today. Woo! Me too. I woke up early. I did my physical therapy, went for a walk. I sewed a button on one of my favorite shirts I've been living with a kind of sloppy looking missing button for probably years. I fixed it this morning. I did a little sewing, got the sewing kit out, feeling already so ahead on this day. And I wanted to share about my gratitude for my men's group last night. Last night was my turn to lead the conversation. And these are men that I've known for 10 plus years, and we've been in this men's group, boy, I don't know, a long time, many years. And I chose to talk about gratitude. Surprise! And it was great because, obviously gratitude is something that I am thinking about every day. I'm practicing every day. And it's also something that I'm very slowly, but I'm working on kind of like a gratitude course. So I started with a little bit, like 5 minutes of a talk of introducing my relationship to gratitude, my history with Grandpa Caleb and Hug Nation, and the Zoom gratitude circles that started in COVID, and the impact of group gratitude. And you can tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I find that when I'm sharing as a group with gratitude, it is exponentially more powerful for me. Because not only do I get my narrow window of what I'm staying aware of, it gets widened by what you share and what others share. And I go, oh yes, I too am grateful for the people I've chosen to surround myself with. I too have a working washer and dryer. And there's also that sympathetic joy of really feeling into what other people are sharing as their gratitude. So that was part of my presentation and our practices. Was I started saying, let's pick a person that brings you joy and that you love. And then don't just say, I love my family or I love my kid. Really paint us a picture. Really explain and have details. Tell us a story, something they did, and really help us to experience the joy that this person brings you. And it was so awesome. People shared about their parents who are no longer with us, their kids, their partners, their sisters. One person shared about his mother, who the memorial for her is next weekend. And I find it so heart expanding to witness people genuinely touching that place of love and gratitude and sharing it. I don't know these people, but through their shares, I feel like the world is I have a better sense of how the world is better. I have a better sense of the ripples that are out there in the world through these friends, through all these lives and activities, this is the news that I want to be paying attention to. Not a list of everything that's gone wrong, not a list of all the betrayal, not a list of the stats showing why things are bad. That can be included in the grand scorekeeping, the grand awareness of the world, but more of these details of one person described in detail the experience of their 7-year-old asleep on their chest, and the way that he says "daddy," and these details of their experience. I was just like, so good, so good. I think there's such a benefit to this life when you can be open to and practice and start experiencing joy from others' joy. And that's kind of the root of gifting. How can I make someone else's day, moment, life better? What crack can I fill? How can I alleviate their burden or delight them? But even just if I am not responsible for this delight and joy and love, but just witnessing it expands my heart. It was so awesome. Susan, good morning. Susan says, I'm grateful for the incredible man who is my husband, Brent Smith. He treats me like a queen daily. I love your love. I love the way that Brent talks about you when you're not here, and I love the way you talk about him. Super inspiring. Sometimes it can be hard for people who do not have a special someone or are in challenging relationships, sometimes to hear the just dripping with sugar sweetness of beautiful, mutually respectful and inspiring relationship. But I also think it's inspiring. It is good to be aware of good, healthy relationships. I know a lot of people that, in fact, well, can I share the names? Okay, so there was a time when my beloved Lisa was working with her mentor, and Don Rosenthal. You can look him up and read his book. He's a brilliant, amazing man. And Lisa was, longing to be in relationship, longing to have a life partner. This is long before we met. And Don reflected back and would you share with me the couples that you know that have relationships that you would like? Share with me. Tell me about the relationships that you see in the world, that you know of your friends, that are like what you want. And it ended up being a big eye opener, because actually, the relationship that I want is, I don't know anybody that has that. It's kind of it's romanticized. It's a little. So one, it's good to know that all relationships take work and are hard and have struggles. And two, it's good to know that it's possible. I've enjoyed the kind of inspiration that Lisa and my story can provide for some people. Like, we were in our 50s. Neither one of us ever, never married, never had anything close to feeling like, okay, I found the one, until we're in our 50s. That's pretty great. And up until 50, a lifetime of inner work and trying to remove the obstacles, remove the ego stuff that tends to inevitably be problematic in relationship. High Noon says, yes, I said that one big reason I love going to the men's group near me is that I get to listen to those in the present. Yeah. It is inspiring to hear your shining love. Hey, Brent's here too from the gym. We got Brent and Susan here. Good morning, lovebirds. I am grateful. So one of the examples of that it was in the presentation, in the talk, in the exercises I gave yesterday, that we did go deep and detailed about someone you love, and then we did one of what are some mundane things in your world that you take for granted, but if we really pause, you can go, oh wow, I am so grateful. Like, I have my own car. I can drive 80 miles an hour and visit someplace that 100 years ago would have taken months of planning, and I could die in the snow and have to decide if I'm going to eat the fellow members of my travel party. And now, like, I might get frustrated that, oh man, I don't have service up here. I can't listen to my podcast for 10 minutes until I get back into service. Or what I shared is like, I had this like whoa moment last week when Lisa and I were having this beautiful conversation, and I went to the door, and the DoorDash was there, and I picked up the sushi at my door, and we went into the other room, and I started setting it up, and like, oh my gosh, I just had raw fish, excellently prepared, brought to my house. I didn't have to fish. I didn't have to cook. I didn't have to dry. I mean, it's like, wow. Oh my gosh, how crazy is it that I was this close to just taking it all for granted? So we did an exercise with that about bringing the mundane and trying to reset our baselines to start noticing what's amazing. We talked a little bit about how injury and sickness can be incredibly helpful to bring our baseline so that when we are feeling good, especially with the gratitude practice, we can go, oh my gosh, I am not sick anymore. Or I very often go back to my shoulder injury of about 2 years ago, of that 2 months of chronic pain where, I think the worst day without that pain is still a fucking awesome day. And then what else did we share? There was a lot of good questions from some people. Several of the guys are dedicated daily gratitude practice practitioners, and there were some guys that were. It was tough. That's not part of their practice, and so that the idea of a gratitude practice being like a muscle. Gratitude is a muscle, and you get better at it. It gets easier. And from that model, I'm like, think about it like physical therapy. And sometimes when you go to physical therapy, you're bummed because I can't bench press because this pain in your shoulder. And they're like, okay, well now you have to do this like little bitty exercise. It's so not rewarding, but you gotta build up the muscles around the joint so that you can then eventually be able to carry your own weight. And it's totally not rewarding. And the beginning of a gratitude practice can feel like this isn't doing it, or beginning of a meditation practice, or anything, jogging. It's like, I say that as someone who has not overcome the hump of meditating or jogging, but gratitude, my muscles are pretty strong. So it was great to have people that were really looking for help in building a gratitude practice, and others with a really strong gratitude practice. And the conversation was awesome. I really felt good about it. Brent says, "This woman, you can't imagine. I'm always in awe of her love." Continuing, says Brent, "I'm grateful for my bike rides to the beach. And then on the beach, Susan brought me to this amazing paradise." I love your clear connection to your gratitude for your partner in your life. Thank you, Brent. Juan says, "We need a weekend workshop on healthy relationships. I'm in already." I like that idea. And actually, I'm grateful for my friend Dave, who came to my Men's Day gathering, in the last Heart-Centered Men's gathering, and he's very skilled at leading events. And so I met with him afterwards and said, "Could you help me kind of give me some thoughts and feedback and suggestions?" And it was, I was nervous. I'm not the kind of person who like thrives on feedback. Like, "Oh, great, an opportunity for me to get better." There's still a definitely deep part of me that's like, here's criticism, and goes, "I suck. I can't do anything right." So I had to like psych myself up, and it was really good. And I think that I'm growing as an organizer, as a facilitator. And so maybe a couples thing, or a healthy relationships. You mean like romantic relationships, right? Because I think that that's a different dynamic that would be good to focus on. Good morning, Andrew. Andrew says, "One of the biggest hurdles I experience about experiencing gratitude is the fact that I am constantly aware that I am so lucky in comparison to so many others in their situation, and their plight is often something that I really struggle with." Yeah, I mean, we talked about that last night too, about the one of the tools of gratitude, or a way to practice, is through comparison. Is imagine if you were incarcerated, and then snap, you're free. You're now back in the life that you have. You're like, "Oh my gosh, this is so much better than that possibility of me being incarcerated." Or I love the idea of, if you're getting bummed out about aging, imagine that you're 85 and you're struggling to get out of bed and everything hurts, and then you go to sleep and you wake up into your current body. You're like, "Oh, I can do so much." And I think what you're touching on, Andrew, is that in that comparison state, when you have an empathetic heart, it's hard not to feel the hurt and the suffering of someone who is feeling the pain of injustice or health issues, or whatever the thing that you are blessed to not have. It's like, oh, my heart hurts for the people that are going through it. But that leads to the last prompt that we did, which is, what is something that while you were going through it was terrible, but with distance you can look back and find gratitude for something about it, the lessons, the growth, the incentive to make change, like what. And so people share different aspects of struggle, and some of them are pretty intense. And so it's good to remember, for yourself and for others, you really do not have a vantage point to judge if something is good or bad. That isn't to say that we shouldn't do whatever we can to reduce the suffering of others. But when it's something that I don't know what I can do, I also don't know for certain that something is good or bad. I I would not be here right now if I hadn't had my heart crushed 3 years ago. I'd probably still be an addict. I'd probably be not been pushed and motivated and slapped hard enough in my spiritual face to go, I need to really get into therapy at a new level of dedication. And so I'm grateful for that pain. And I'm grateful for that nerve pain I had 2 years ago. There's so many lessons that I got from that. So it was really cool to hear people share these things of like, oh God, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. And then hear them explain why they're grateful for it. Kiri says, it's not always the lessons I took away from something terrible that I'm grateful for. Sometimes I'm just grateful that I'm alive to experience the full spectrum of human emotion, even if it's uncomfy. Yeah. And that's, another part of what I was explaining to people is that, gratitude is not a bypassing. It is not it wasn't hard, it was great, it was good for me. Or, I'm not thinking about the things that aren't good because I'm only focused on what's awesome. But when you can have gratitude be a yes and, you can bring a depth to your experience that softens the sting of pain, I think, and turns it into a richer, deep human experience. Like with grief, for example. If you bringing gratitude into grief is not about denying the grief or the pain. It is living in this place of feeling the grief and being aware of the gifts of when that person or thing was present, being grateful for how it has impacted you, and knowing that that is contributing to this hurt right now. And I think that there's something about that integration of grief and gratitude that turns something that just can be a overwhelming, just bad, into a overwhelming humaning, which is a very different experience. Kiri says, this sucks, but thank goodness I'm alive to feel it. Exactly. Another thing that I shared was like, someone asked like, so why do you practice gratitude? Like, what does it make you, like, what does it do for you? And I was like, well, if I am not practicing gratitude, it is very easy for me to get caught up in like my to-do list, what I need to do. And I take for granted so much of life, but with gratitude, I become aware of how enjoyable my life is, how much incredible things there are. As I'm eating the food, I not only have the taste of the food, I have this incredible awe about what it took to get to my table. And sometimes I go all the way to the cosmic perspective of like, in the vastness of this universe, the amount of matter that is dead and spinning through in blackness, and that I'm inhabiting matter, some of the matter in this universe that is a living organism on a planet that can sustain life. And on that planet is this breadth of natural wonder and beauty and flora and fauna and mycelium and other human beings and art. And I have the within this living matter thing I'm in, I can feel sensations. I can taste things. I can hear music. I can dance. Like, holy fucking shit! Like, the statistical probability of getting to be some of that matter in the vast time expanse of the universe and the spatial expansion of the universe, it is I mean, people say it seems ridiculous to believe in, a God. It's more unbelievable to think that I'm having this experience right now, conscious of the universe as it's happening, with a fridge filled with food and a network filled with people that love me. Holy fucking shit. Good morning, Jaunty. Kiri says, it helps us stay radically present. Yeah, totally. It's so easy. Something like it's so clear to me. Like, I'll be like eating the last bite of something and I'm like, oh, this was a treat. And I lost presence. I lost gratitude, and whoops. The more that we can be resetting our baseline, being aware of like what's actually happening. So I just saw an exercise where someone said, go to a grocery store and try to imagine it's the first time you've ever seen one and see how amazed you are. I'm also grateful that I'm renting this home and have access to property managers, because we have I'm meeting a technician here any minute. We had a hose burst while we were traveling, and there's a ton of water that seeped into our underground storage. But I'm grateful that I'm a renter, and so I have help in figuring this all out. I am grateful that pretty much everything that's down in that storage is in plastic bins and rubber bins, so there's minimal damage to things. I'm so grateful that I have the capacity to handle this obstacle without spiraling into anger and frustration. Brent says, in 2017, traveling from Black Rock City back to Alabama in a Cruise America RV with my very soon-to-be ex-wife of 25 years, and the weeks after, until the end, and then some. Had I only known this amazing life that was waiting. Oh, this has been so much fun, but I think we should come to a close, share a hug, and then bring this vibration of presence and gratitude and share it with the world. So wherever you are, give yourself a big hug. Feel this body. Recognize that you have sensations. You have a musculature that can move you around the world. I mean, trees are incredible, but I mean, imagine a tree looking at us going like, oh, they could just up and move around and go to the food. Crazy. Grateful for this body, grateful for a community of people that supports us and helps to remind us of the gift of being alive. Grateful for all the struggles that shaped us and gave us resilience and lessons and compassion for others. And grateful to be connected in this oneness, letting our egos dissolve for a second and just feeling blessed to be a part of this conscious human family. As we take a deep breath in and squeeze one another and feel us squeezing you. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all of us here, thanks for being here for Hug Nation Live. I love you. Good morning, Lakia. I love you. Good to see you. I will see you tomorrow or at noon if you want to join for gratitude. And I think we finally got all the gratitude links fixed. Thanks to everyone who was helping me troubleshoot yesterday. You can always go to zoom.hugnation.com and that will take you to... actually just say, go to lifestudent.com. That's the easy link. Lifestudent.com takes you to everything. Lifestudent.com.